This actual play is intended for mature audiences and contains themes some viewers may find upsetting. Please check each episode's show notes for specific content warnings and enjoy the show with care.
The Old Fire.
Narrate a flashback to the time of the old fire, to the day you joined the Nameless Legion. What name did you surrender, and what did you believe you were giving it up for? It is in a modest chapel where the Nameless Legion gather to witness the growth in their ranks. They sit quiet in pews, eyes darting about to see who has grown worthy. The Knight Commander is a wide, solemn figure at the altar, the moniker Bear given to him because of how he layers furs beneath his armor, like a beast trying to burst free from their trappings. I kneel on the steps with the other unproven, many of whom I do not know, and one I do. Two candle bearers trail either side of the Knight Commander, light of the ever-burning, held in their wax-laden hands, witnesses of the proceedings. Bear stands before me first, his blade glinting in the flames as it hovers. The light moves molten in the sword, and I feel entranced watching it lift above my head. And he tells me, surrender your name, the first sacrifice of the burden, and I do. Zora of the noble house Torlanis. And I see them exchange a glance of concern or pity. I can't quite tell. I can imagine what they've heard of the cruelty done to those who would oppose our house, of the brutality of the members within. Bear, stoic, tells me to recite the oaths, and I do. I devote myself to humility in thought and deed, never to seek esteem or honor or praise. I have held all of these things, and they've brought me no end of hell. My body keeps a litany of scars laid into my skin from the jealousy of my cousins, from the envy of my siblings at my talents. Such was I, the first of my parents. Of course it means that I am most favored. And for Torlanis, favor is endless eyes and plots and schemes. My own wishes were silenced under the weight of what it would mean for our name, our family. I remember the sharp nails of my mother digging into my shoulder to keep me in my seat as my father brokered a deal for my future. My own feelings on the matter be damned. To deny the orders of family is a betrayal, so here I kneel, a traitor to that family, glad to be rid of the blasted title of Torlanis and all their foul destinies, as I swear to temper my own desires and live in service of people better than those who created me. And Bear moves on to the next when I am done, and I glance again at the one unproven I know, at the black ribbon adorning his hair this solemn day, the blue he favored tight in my fist. His eyes meet mine, and I hold tight in my heart to a different oath, an oath sworn to one alone, whose name has been surrendered to me first.
Fantastic, thank you. So there's a prohibition normally about talking about your character's past because in many instances your Ember literally can't remember it. But in this case, Ash, you have remembered this, and so you can freely discuss that aspect of your past whenever you want. Let's continue with our start of session procedure. So the next thing I have to do is recap the active mystery, including any clues found and the questions that you are currently working on. So our mystery is the starting mystery of Elegy. You have two different questions you are working on. The first lets you actually resolve the mystery, which is how can we call Pale Crossing back to the shores of Elegy? That's a complexity 6. That'll let you immediately engage with the struggle and then eventually get off the island and resolve the mystery. The next question is how do we open the doors to the Morning Tower? That's a complexity 8. You have currently 4 and soon to be 5 clues. They're in the character keeper. I'm not going to recap them here, but we will talk about that 5th clue in a little bit. I do think this is a good moment to talk about some more of the rules. It's a good chance to teach some more of the game. So you have been using the aspects on your relics, and in the case of Fenwyn, on your core move, the mouse in the tower. You've been using these aspects so far to get advantage on die rolls. And if you're familiar with Carve from Brindlewood games, that's very common in those games. But aspects can be used in 3 other ways as well. You can mark an aspect to help another Ember. So after they roll dice, you can mark an aspect to add 1 to their roll, maybe bumping a 9 to a 10, a 6 to a 7, that kind of thing. You can mark an aspect to immediately clear a condition. So some of you have started to gain conditions. If you can justify it in the narration, you can mark an aspect to say why that aspect helps you clear that condition right away. The 4th way you can use aspects is connected to the questions. You can mark an aspect to function as a clue. So when you get ready to answer a question, you can mark aspects in order to essentially get additional clues for answering the question. And so that's something to be mindful of as well. It kind of helps you sort of personalize and add your own part of the story into the solutions, which is a fun thing. So just be mindful of those additional uses of the aspects. They're a very powerful and important part of the game. Let's take a look at conditions, and I meant to ask you what conditions do you each have, and importantly, do you have any moves or scenes you would like to see happen this session? It's okay if you don't have any particular thoughts, but if you do, I'd love to hear them. Why don't we start with we'll go in reverse order. Fenwyn, doesn't look like you have any conditions, but did you have any particular moves or other things you'd like to see today?
I've got no moves that pop off, but given that we're all together, it would be fun to have some kind of we've just met scenes, and it wasn't that stressful.
Definitely. Absolutely. Calyxe, you have tell us your conditions. You have 2.
So I have chilled to the bone and scratched and torn. So I would be interesting in potentially clearing one of them. Does the accumulation of conditions work similar to the between and public access in that once all is filled and another condition is added, then
stoke the fire? Yes.
Stoking the fire. And can you stoke the fire, the old fire or the fire to come?
You can stoke the old fire, the fire to come, and in the future there are other fires that can be stoked as well.
Excellent. In that case, I have no interest in clearing any conditions at this point in time, but I would love a scene with sweet dear Fen, if that is on the table.
Fantastic. Theia, you don't have any conditions, but did you have any? I have one thing that we're going to be doing, maybe related to one of your moves, but apart from that, did you have any other ideas or scenes that you want to have?
No, I think that Theia's just very keen to see what these other 2 are about, having only harassed one of the 3 other Embers so far.
Indeed. Ash, you are marked by the Black Cortege, which could be an ongoing problem. Did you have any ideas for scenes or moves you'd like to see?
Similar to Fenwyn, I would like to meet the others and see what they're like. But apart from that, no, maybe we might get some relics popping off, but otherwise, not relics, rituals.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. The rituals is a specific thing that happens during Make Camp, and we'll talk about Make Camp when the time comes for that. So let's go ahead and, if you wish, you can mark new elective end of session questions. Or you can keep them the same. But you're allowed to change them now if you wish. And now we also trigger any start obsession moves, which I believe is just your move, Theia, if I'm not mistaken. And that move is called In Service of the Wolf King. Will you read it to us, please?
At the beginning of each session, the keeper will narrate a whisper you hear on the wind from the Wolf King, asking you to do a particular task, seemingly unrelated to the situation at hand. The tasks will get increasingly strange and disturbing the more marks you have on the fire to come. If you complete this task in the same session it is assigned, mark XP and move your marker in the direction of whichever moon the keeper says.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll kind of start with that then. This is something you're going to experience sort of as everyone's kind of catching their breath after having just defeated the Grave Gestalt. To kind of paint the picture here a little bit, you're essentially in the sort of front yard of the Morning Tower, at the base of the Morning Tower. Fen the Gravedigger is there, and there are just bones and busted tombstones like all over the place. The Wolf King, or the moons, however you interpret it, have already communicated to you once recently, and now you're getting this whisper on the wind, which you hear very clearly, just you, but you hear very clearly because after the Grave Gestalt is defeated, that sort of that like hush that permeates Elegy sort of resettles, right? And the whisper that you hear, go to the burial cliffs and help someone find rest. And that's it. And here, before we begin the scene, I do want to go ahead and sort of give you the lay of the land, now that you all have a minute to kind of take stock. So as we look out from what is essentially the center of the island, because that's where the Morning Tower is roughly in the center, you'll kind of see some other places around the island. We've already talked about the little graveyard. There might be more to do there. There is also, amidst several cemeteries, the Grand Cemetery, which is enormous and has the most ostentatious mausoleums, right? And has the best view as well. It's kind of situated like at a high point looking out into the still ocean, right? There are the burial cliffs, which are on the literal side of the island that can be reached via some paths and switchbacks. And dotted all over the island are large family mausoleums. In the time of the Old Fire, there were 6 great noble houses, and each of those 6 great noble houses has a family mausoleum on Elegy. And so with all of that said, let's just pick up with Fen the Gravedigger grumbling about having mess to clean up. He doesn't expect you embers with your grand epic quests to be bothered with that. And the scene of the 4 of you meeting essentially as a group for the first time. Roleplay.
I think as we're all curling up from the battle, heaving with breath, sweating, and laughing even maybe at the fact that we are even alive still, Calyxe fixes, in particular, the wolf and the mouse with a grin. So you are new.
And you are old.
Sapling meets aged oak. How interesting. And then eventually her eyes, large and black, flitter over to the nameless. And you have no form. And yet you fight like 1,000 souls are in your blades. What are you?
I am one of the nameless.
Fascinating. Well, might I be the first to propose something of an alliance? We fought well. I think it will not be the last time that we fight. What say you?
Well, to fight is not typically part of my oeuvre, but perhaps it will come in handy to have some amongst me who can. And you, can we see the two nameless souls who have returned to you? Can we see them?
I think as faint wisps, persons at the edge of periphery.
And you, so fascinating, a Baptist to clouds. I should very much like to know more about you.
I'm sorry to say there's not much to know. It is our way to not hold much within ourselves.
But it seems you hold something without, no?
Perhaps you speak in ways clouded. It is difficult for me to understand, but I will try.
Those of iron and steel are usually rigid in their nature. They do not bend. I can see that. Though the mouse has been relatively quiet. If he is even still there. Come out, little mouse. Tell us your name.
I'll hold it for now. And Fenwyn looks at Calyxe and turns kind of to the other two and says, I've served many masters in my time. I've served the sword, I've served the crown, I've served those with unspeakable power. But nothing scares me more than the pious. We should be cautious of such an alliance.
Oh, you need not fear me, little one. For your creed, your crown, your law, that you hold in such high regard. The only thing I would hold higher is the canopy. The sweet breath of nature, she which has given her life back to us so that we may walk. There is nothing I would want more than to help in a shared endeavor as nature would intend, as she would intend, as was taught to me. I am sure.
There's nothing natural about your ways.
I could argue the same for you, little mouse. Couldn't I?
And Fenwyn turns to the others and says, I'm a shrewd judge of character.
Well, little mouse, I shall take you under advisement. It is true that those of wood are prone to rot. But for now, I know nothing of what's happening. I have the sense that you are not here to enlighten me. And she kind of nods at Calyxe. And you are equally unenlightened. Nods to Ash. And you keep running away and hiding from me. I think I might go and do a little exploration.
As you will.
Before we get too far, we need to define this fifth clue that you will have found in the ruin of the grave gestalt. Did anyone have a chance to think about that between sessions?
I had something of an idea. If people want to either pick it up and run with it or just ignore it completely. I thought about in the remains of the fight with the grave gestalt, we find some sort of regalia that confirms the existence of an order of knights that used to live on Elegy. So like crypt knights or something. So it just the clue is just the existence of an order of knights who used to live here.
I like that. We should just call them the crypt knights. I think that's great. If no one objects, I think that's a terrific clue.
As Theia was stepping away, wait, hold, please. You are embers, all of you.
So I'm told.
It is not my place to say what we should or shouldn't do, but it might be in our interest to stand together. At least until we can find a way off of this place.
I may not share the same rekindled fire that you three share. My existence is a continual mystery. But I can agree that leaving this hellscape is in all our best interests.
You certainly have a small part of the old fire within you. You are being approached. Indeed, you hear the crunch of bones beneath footsteps of a woman wearing a threadbare nun's habit, stained by sea salt. And she's clutching a silver rosary so tightly it's kind of bitten into her palm, and there's little trickles of blood coming down. And her eyes seem to be, even though she's talking to all of you and specifically to Fenwyn, her eyes seem to be looking out into the fog-shrouded sea. I am Sister Isha, formerly of the Sisters of the Long Wake. This was my home. But now I am cast out.
Cast out by whom?
The other sisters who have sealed themselves away in the Morning Tower. They disagreed with me. We had, shall we say, an argument over ideology. I question the endless rites of mourning. There is more to this world than just holding sorrow for its passing. That is where the four of you and the many hundreds who came before you enter the picture. You have the ability to find the throne of the hidden king and to give this world another chance. Or you can go into the Morning Tower and to be content with letting this world die for good.
Why is it that you cannot seek the throne of the false king?
I am not an ember. It is not my place.
It wasn't your place to question your sisters, and yet here you stand.
Indeed, this is true. I fear I do not have the willpower to make such a long journey. And in any case, I still care very much for my sisters, stubborn though they are, and I hope to meet them again, to try to convince them to help give this world another chance. Perhaps you can convince them to help give this world another chance.
Well, how might we do that? What words do they wish to hear? What gentleness might coax from them the opportunity for the door to open?
Go ahead and make the information move with presence, Calyxe.
Okay. This is an 8.
We'll get to this in a moment. Before she answers, where do we all think we're headed once this conversation is over? Are you headed to the burial cliffs, Theia? Ash?
I will follow after Theia.
Fenwyn?
I would like to hit up one of the family mausoleums.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Calyxe?
Calyxe is going to stay right here with Sister Isha.
Very good. I think then I'll give you Sister Isha's answer after everyone's gone. It is now fully night. Whatever light was being provided by the twin moons is fully occluded by the cloud cover, and it's dark. And yet you can see the burial cliffs. By the time you get there, someone, perhaps using exquisite video game logic, someone has lit candles along the path so you can see them. You can see what is out there. I'm sure it was Fen, one of his many duties. The burial cliffs, there's a narrow path that kind of winds down the cliffs in broken switchbacks. The sea not really churning below, and more just kind of gurgling below, far below. It's a very dangerous drop. And you can see stone niches lining the walls. And even from this distance before you set forth on this path, you can see that the niches hold coffins or urns. The air here tastes very much of salt. And what little wind is blowing is actually kind of keening through these hollows in the walls. This is actually kind of dangerous, Theia and Ash. The switchbacks have a lot of broken spots that would just plummet you down into the ocean. It doesn't look particularly stable, making the journey down there. Let's just have the scene. What do you do?
You followed me, Baptist of Clouds.
Still, I understand not what you mean, but yes, I did.
Have you come to protect me?
Aye.
How charming.
Would you be in need of service?
Well, if you're offering it, I'm awfully afraid of falling down there. But something, don't worry what, tells me that I ought to make my way. Would you care to join me?
If it is your will.
Very well. Hold on tight. She's going to place a hand on Ash's arm. Start making her way down.
This is going to be, I think it's just one roll, but help and other things as needed, maybe from the spectral legionnaires. But you're going to be doing the roll, Theia. Okay. This is the dark move to navigate down to the burial niches. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Thea's afraid that she will fall into the ocean.
It is a problem. Yeah. It is worse than that. I think you will fall into the ocean and you will be split upon the rocks as well. Let's go ahead and I think this is going to be composure.
Okay. 6 and a 1, and I have a 1 in composure, so 8.
8. On a 7 to 9, you do it or hold steady, but there is a complication or cost. I'll describe what it looks like. So I think this is just a really careful, slow process. And you are helping each other, kind of, because occasionally you have to kind of like jump a gap, There might even be one really perilous moment where the switchback kind of crumbles beneath your feet, Theia, and Ash, or maybe even one of the spectral legionnaires, has to reach out and grab you and like haul you up, And as you're kind of making your way, you're getting a better glimpse at these niches at the burial cliffs in total as you kind of make your way through. And we assume you're kind of, poking your head in them and kind of seeing what you see. Let's paint the scene now, everyone. The burial cliffs are beautiful but treacherous. What sign do we see that someone, living or dead, still tends these graves despite the danger? And you can't see the candles that are lit.
There were so many graves before, with no names visible. But every grave here still has the name clearly chiseled into the stone, as if once it starts to wear away, somebody has recarved it.
I think there is on the very precipice of the cliff a counterweighted scaffold, and from it hangs like a little cot where someone whose job it is to chisel the niches into the cliffside and put the offerings and these shrines in. That's what they'd used to do it, and it's been left hanging for quite some time.
Around the entrances where time and weather should have worn away the stone and softened it, they're still sharp, as if someone rehewed the stone every now and then to keep it in a proper state.
The cliffs form part of a bay, and at the furthest curve of the bay, the waves have relentlessly battered the stone into submission. It is crumbled, and you can see great pillars where doors were once carved into the side of these cliffs. Hundreds of years must have passed. Each of these doors has formed and fallen, formed and fallen. Or they should have fallen. The doors have been remade, carefully pinned into place, so that the graves that once lay atop them are in perfect condition, are tied against nature itself.
The complication, Theia, is just that I think navigating the switchbacks is just really nerve-wracking, and I'm going to give you a shaky hands condition because of your nerves. Now, if you want to bump up the roll somehow, you can do that. Help would only give you +1s. Help from, like, mechanical help from Ash would only give you a +1, unless the specters help, in which case it could be more. But otherwise, that's the only complication.
I think I'll take that, actually. Ash can hang on to the Legion for now.
Mm-hmm. We'll come back to what you find in a moment. Let's check in with Fenwyn, who moves like ink in water. It's very dark, Fenwyn, as you make your way across the island. I suppose this is a natural, comfortable place for you to be in the dark. I do think as you're moving across, at one point, what appears to be just a wisp of fog visible in the faint moonlight, you see is actually a procession of moths drifting past, like falling ash, their wings dusting your hands with gray. But they seem to move with purpose. Indeed, they settle on the entrance to one of the family mausoleums. And from just inside the mausoleum, you can kind of hear faintly behind a partially cracked open stone door. You can hear like a very pleasant humming, like someone at work. What do you do?
I think that Fenwyn's already pressed against the side of this crypt, and sliding his hands, his palms flat against the stone to help aid his sensory interpretation of whatever's going on inside there.
You can make the information move. I think it's probably vitality or composure. I'll let you choose.
Composure, please. 9.
You can hear wherever the person is, they're not just inside the structure, they're down below as well. Very likely the structure is just the kind of like antechamber or vestibule that leads you to the lower crypt area where beneath the ground many of people of this noble house would be buried. And something kind of odd happens. At a certain point, this person who you're listening to them, you're kind of hearing them, and they're humming a song, but then you can start to hear the words of the song. You can kind of make out little pieces of what they're singing. The song has something to do with a candle showing the way. That's sort of like what the lyrics are. And as they sing that refrain in the song, there are a number of candles and little torches and things kind of lit all around. The whole island at a certain point kind of becomes kind of illuminated with this warm candle glow. Every time he sings about candles showing the way, all of the candles seem to gutter in one direction. As if it's a strange thing, but they all just kind of gutter in one direction. It's not even clear what they're pointing at, but that's your clue. Your complication with that clue comes in the form of someone round back the mausoleum building with you. You can hear them scratching around in the dirt. And then you hear we'll come back to this. I think if it's okay, Calyxe, I'd like to suggest that you and Sister Isha have been talking for a while. A little bit of time has passed. It's fully dark now. The candles are lit. And I'm going to suggest that the two of you have kind of made your way into the grand cemetery. This is the one that has terraced mausoleums rising above the sea, their marble stained with salt. Very strong smell of old incense. Indeed, you can see bowls of it all over the place. And incense would be a very valuable offering to lay at a grave or a tomb. We'll paint the scene in a moment. But I'd like to just ask you, what's your opinion of Sister Isha so far? I think the conversation has mostly been ideological in nature, philosophical.
There is an admiration that Calyxe has for the strength of her piety, for how committed she is to her cause, and the strength then in turn of the doubt that she faces, that there is an end to the endless grief. And Calyxe is drinking in all of the details she is willing to share about her own religion, about her own belief and faith, or lack thereof. And she listens with eyes wide and a smile just as wide.
She continues on as you're walking. What are essentially, even though it's an outdoor space, the grand cemeteries, it's kind of like corridors because there's so many tall statues and structures. You kind of wind through it, you know. They say our prayers keep the world at peace. Lies. Our prayers keep it still. If the morning tower's bells ever rang true again, I think the dead would rise just to hear them more clearly. The Sisters of the Long Wake misunderstand entirely their purpose. But I know something of your order, of the Crux Druids. I remember them, though I never had any interactions with them myself. There was no Sisters of the Long Wake back then, in the time of the Old Fire, of course. I was just a nun of no renown, I would say. I must say, and I hope you don't take offense, you seem an improbable vessel of the Old Fire.
Improbable.
Well, forgive me for saying it, but the Crux Druids were much reviled, were they not?
Reviled, revered, famous, infamous. It meant no difference to us. From what I recall, from what I can grasp in the fog of my memory, I simply remember the happiness in the knowledge and the peace of what we felt. I see your grief, sister. I see the struggle within you. And let it be known, I felt no such struggle. I felt no such turbulence. I felt no such doubt in my purpose. Can you say the same?
It is not that I doubt my beliefs. It is that I believe not all has been revealed yet.
I agree. And I would be inclined to reveal more. It is with that I must ask you, sister, what lengths would you go to reveal more of the true nature of this world?
I don't know if she ever gives you an answer, but I do know that you find your clue here in your wanderings through the Grand Cemetery. Someone on the side of one of the structures, someone has drawn a door in chalk. There's an overhang in the structure that prevents the rain from smearing the chalk, but where the door handle would be, you can tell that the chalk drawing has been smeared and redrawn many times, as if someone was actually using this illustration of the door. That is your clue. Theia and Ash, you have access to the main body of the burial niches. Some of them have shrines, some have coffins, some are quite ornate, some have whole families in them. Give you each a chance to say what you're doing. We'll start with Ash.
I think Ash making sure that Theia is settled and not about to fall off of the cliff anymore is going to climb up towards one of the niches that has a family within it. And I think he's just trying to see how recent someone has been in here.
Go ahead and do the information move with reason, and let's see how you do.
Eight.
What are you doing, Theia?
Theia watches Ash kind of make their way into this niche, and she's looking at him with his back turned to her, and she kind of grips the handle of her dagger, looks up in the direction where she knows Red Ragar will be watching down, You don't mean him, right? I quite like him so far.
There's no indication one way or the other from the Wolf King.
Well, if someone has to be laid to rest, it's certainly not me. I only just woke up. She's going to, yeah, she's just looking around. Is there anyone else here?
Make the information move.
Okay.
Your condition doesn't affect you yet, but I think this is going to be with composure.
Okay. 8, 9.
2 clues on the table, 2 complications on the table. Fenwyn, you hear this slavering sound coming from just around the corner. What do you do?
Fenwyn feels a little exposed and a little foolish for walking into this danger or potential danger, and just says, "You're either in distress or some slobbering ghoul. Either way, show yourself. It'll make it easier."
They do. Sort of staggering around the corner is a withered noble in shredded finery. Kind of sunken, kind of like hollowed eyes, or skin like pulled very tight across the bone, just little strands of hair, and they're the ones shredding their finery. They're kind of tearing at it. And they come around the corner and they see you. And their eyes are wide to where they're actually somewhat visible in their deep recesses. And they say, You must grieve until the stars drown in our tears. And then launches himself at you. What do you do?
Whilst Fenwyn has heard this little preamble from this desiccated noble, he's just kind of, I imagine we're between kind of 2 mausoleums in a little alley.
Sure, yeah.
He's calculated the geometry and looked at the stones that are perhaps jutting out slightly to be footholds, and he is stepping up once, twice, and thrice to be on the roof and out of range of this grasping wretch.
Fantastic. I think this is the light move. I don't think this thing is necessarily super dangerous by itself. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid that there'll be more of them if I get pulled down and caught.
That's bad. Go ahead, and this is going to be with vitality. Are you marking an aspect here?
No, YOLO.
Okay.
8.
I think it's not as elegant as all that. Let me tell you how you will be vulnerable, and you can decide whether you want to try to, or if you want to try to make this a better roll. What's going to happen is you are going to, do you wear boots or something like that?
Yeah, I've got kind of like the wrapped ankles and like a soft like plimsoll, like a ballet shoe almost.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think that the noble, as you're kind of scrambling up, the noble is going to reach and grab and wrench free your shoe. And that in itself wouldn't be a big deal, except for the fact that it reminds him of something that used to be worn by his noble mother. And it's just going to be a whole weird scene. Do you want to bump this roll, or do you want to just go with that?
I don't want a simp noble, zombie noble following me around with his mum's shoe. I think I'm gonna stoke the fire, I think, on this. This is, yeah, I can't deal with this.
old fire or
Old
you can also
fire.
try another way too. You don't have to scramble up.
No, I'll start the fire.
Okay. Old fire or the fire to come.
Old fire.
Okay, mark the first box and we do it next time we meet. For now, please describe your escape.
So this thing kind of lumbers in, kind of rasping and talking of grieving, and Fenwyn, who has calculated the odds precisely, and there was never a moment of doubt here, hops up between the mausoleums up onto the roof, and then just kind of looks down, almost perched like a gargoyle atop this roof, and watches this poor thing kind of groping away in the dark. And it's from this kind of viewpoint that he'll consider his next move.
How long do you watch it?
I watch it until I see where it goes to rest. Like, does it go back round the mausoleum and stay there, ready to be kind of like spawned again, or does it wander off anywhere else?
Make an information move with reason.
9.
Mm-hmm. Calyxe, Sister Isha sees that you're very interested in this chalk drawing on the building, and she excuses herself for now. She says, I have had a lovely evening debating these matters with you, Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible. Perhaps we shall meet again soon.
We will. I have faith.
And she wanders off. And as I mentioned before, the Grand Cemetery, once you're in the thick of it, it's like being in a twisty maze, a corridor, because there's so many markers and obelisks and buildings and statues, and you have to just kind of wind your way through them. You can see because there are candles and torches lit, and so you're not in the dark as such. But it doesn't take long for Sister Isha to be completely out of sight, just basically turning the corner a couple of times and she's gone. And then shortly thereafter, someone else approaches from this labyrinth of grave markers. It's a man. He is wearing a hooded cowl, and he has sort of like blackened his eyes with soot, and his bare feet are wrapped in funeral cloth and rings of silver. And he's holding in his right hand a taper candle that's lit. He says, "Hello, Ember. I am Mortis of the Black Cortege."
A pleasure to meet you. So far out and so alone as you are.
Oh, I assure you, it is no pleasure for you, Ember, though it may well be one for me. You see, you are here in defiance of death, like so many sad entities on this island. I do my best to put you back to rest, and I'm happy to report I'm very good at my job. So, do you have any last words, or anything else you would like for me to take back to the mainland?
Take back to the mainland, you say? So you would know of the Pale Crossing, you say?
Perhaps I do, but that is neither here nor there, because this is not information you need, because your short unlife ends here, I fear.
Unlife?
Yes.
What a word.
Yes. You are an abomination, Ember.
Oh, trust me, Mortis. Mortis. Sweet Mortis. I am no more an abomination than the sisters grieving endlessly in their tower, than the one that loses her faith over it. No, I am certain in my purpose. I know my place among the root and rot of the earth. Amidst here, these great graves. I am sure I am here for good reason, or the earth would have not brought me back in this form, but as something else entirely. So you are mistaken, Mortis, and I forgive you for such a mistake.
Oh, Ember, your words are beautiful indeed. But I fear you are no different than the slavering ghoul or the sad melancholia floating through the graves. You're an undead that must be put down. And so let's get on with it, shall we? And at this point, he breathes a black mist. This black mist extinguishes his candle, and that extinguishes every other light source in the vicinity, every torch, every lantern, every candle, plunging you into darkness. It also has the slight problem of extinguishing your courage. I'm giving you a condition, fearful. What do you do?
Calyxe hasn't known fear, not fear proper, since she's woken. It is alien, and it kindles something of memory within her from ages gone by. But this isn't her time. Her task is not yet complete. She is not satisfied here. She will only be satisfied, and I'm going to tick this as part of my aspect to sort of steady my resolve, for I can only be satisfied if the whole world hangs. And I am but one piece of this puzzle, and I will not hang alone, as I pull the Harrow the Martyr Catcher close to me and steady my resolve.
So you're marking the aspect to clear the condition then, or to not have it?
Yes. Yes. Fearful is not something I want her to be, I don't think.
You can hear him drawing his weapon too. You hear the distinct of something being drawn from a scabbard that you cannot see. This is the dark move. What are you afraid is going to happen right now? Or what are you going to try to do?
I'm going to try and meet him with Harrow the Martyr Catcher, but I am afraid that his weapon that I have not seen is much, much deadlier than mine.
It is worse than that. He will show you how ably he can put the undead back into their tombs. You are going to roll with vitality. Are you going to be bumping this up with any other aspects?
No, I think we'll see what we get on the flat. We've been all right so far.
I think, I'm not gonna invoke your conditions. You're fine. What'd you get?
I should have. A 6.
A 6.
A 6.
The fight, I'm afraid to report, is incredibly brief. Your chain makes you all the more easy to spot in the dark because of the noise it makes. Mortis moves ably through the dark. You can hear his dancerly footsteps going around you, right behind you. As he draws his blade across your throat, he whispers into your ear, There, Ember. Your fire is extinguished. I shall make sure you are given proper burial rites in a tomb of stone. Unless you're stoking the fire.
I think I will.
Old fire or fire to come?
The fire to come.
Which one?
The Kindling Gate.
Oh, the Kindling Gate. I knew it. We have to read it. It's kind of the perfect thing for you to mark, I think, at this point. Will you read it for us?
The Kindling Gate. Pick a cinder. Do not mark it if it is unmarked, and cross out all others. Tell the other embers they cannot mark the Kindling Gate on their own sheets. Take the condition. Herald of, name of Cinder. Whenever you act in accordance with or are negatively affected by the condition, mark a box below. When all the boxes are marked, you can unmark them to unmark the Cinder. The Herald condition cannot be cleared in normal ways, but you can choose to clear it in order to get an automatic 12+ on a roll. If you do this, cross out the Kindling Gate.
So there's a lot there, but for now, you have 5 cinders, and we haven't talked about cinders yet on this. And what they are essentially is 5 philosophical statements that will come up in play for the various, the various ways. But for you, you're choosing one of them to be the herald of, meaning it is your exclusive focus for the remainder of the campaign. So what is your key philosophy? What is your key cinder that you are the herald of?
I will be known as the herald of the speaking root. The land reveals truth only when fed suffering.
Should be a lot of fun at a party. I'm excited.
Tee-hee.
I'm not going to give you any further complication, and I will let you, when I come back around to you, describe how you evade Mortis. There will be one minor complication, which is just that you can't kill Mortis. All you can do is escape for now. Let's check in with everyone else. I owe clues and complications. Ash, you said you were going towards a family burial niche. You manage to clamber your way up, and you do find a family that was buried together. You can see 2 adult figures laid atop a stone slab, and then on 2 smaller slabs between them, 2 smaller bodies. There's not much remaining there. We're talking centuries of decay. They are just bits of bone at this point. I'm going to give you your clue that you'll find as you're kind of poking around and looking at this space. I think the thing you see right before you step inside, there's a bit of cracked mirror right at the entrance to the niche. That in itself would be a little unusual, I guess. But what's more unusual is it catches your eye because the mirror does not reflect the dark, cloudy sky above. It reflects a bright blue, sunny sky. No matter how you move it, no matter how you position it, it's not a trick of the light. The reflection is always this blue sky. And then your complication. There's a melancholia in this burial niche. A child. Small, spectral child who appears to be kneeling at the base of one of the parental burial slabs and crying. But of course the melancholia can't vocalize properly, so it just sort of sounds like as they hold their little ghostly hands in front of their face. Theia, remind me what you were looking for again?
There's somebody here who's to be laid to rest. And Theia's
Yes.
trying to find who they are.
I think you actually see something. I don't know if it's more interesting, but you notice a little, like, so I mentioned there's a bunch of like kind of switchbacks in the cliffs. Just out of reach, hanging from, it appears to be like it's a little unclear, like they're hanging by their ankle, like they fell from a high point and got caught by their ankle in the stone, and they're just hanging there. The clothes are all hanging down, but it appears to be monk's robes. And the body's not even that decayed. So this must have happened fairly recently. And I regret to inform you that your clue is clutched in the body's hand, rigor mortis holding it in place. You can't see what it is, but there's clearly something with a bit of glimmer in the body's hand, and it's just a little bit out of reach, dangerously out of reach. If you want the clue, you have to find a way to get to the body or to bring the body to you. What do?
Theia looks up at this bat. Oh, little bat. Are you the one I was to sing a lullaby to? Seems I'm a little late. Perhaps I can knock you loose? Oh, it might be easier to meet you where you are. And Theia is going to ill-advisedly attempt to climb up the rocks and just grab it.
You're scaling this. Okay, you're gonna Mission Impossible it over there.
Mm-hmm.
Really dangerous. This is vitality. You have shaky hands currently.
Shit, I forgot about that.
Sure how well advised this is.
It's so well advised.
You are totally at disadvantage here. This is the dark move. What do you think is going to happen if you fail?
She's so fixated on what she sees. She's not even thinking about the danger. I think she's just afraid that she's not going to carry out the instructions she received if she doesn't get this thing.
Yes, that's because you will have plummeted into the sea, sadly. So this is going to be with vitality and you're at disadvantage.
Okay. Wow, okay, that was actually really good. 2 5s and a 4, so that was 9.
Oh,
and
very good.
vitality is 0, so 9.
Fantastic.
Didn't deserve that, really.
I'm going to give you a further condition, which is you are shaky hands and you are also unnerved. You are a bundle of nerves right now. Go ahead and note that. But I'll describe it. I think you just free climb it. Handholds. We kind of see you slowly spidering across the wall. At one point, you almost like slip and fall. But the thing that keeps you going is briefly the clouds part and you see Red Regar. And the sort of like the fury, the power of Red Regar gives you the strength to keep going. I'm actually going to bump you one step closer to Red Regar. But you do make it. And you see what this dead hanging monk is holding, gripped in his hand. It's your clue. The clue is, how to describe it? It's like a piece of scrimshaw, like a carved bone, the type that sailors would carve things onto. Could be relevant to Pale Crossing. Indeed, it does depict a boat, and it does have what appears to be part of like a mariner's rhyme. And this is the clue part. Speak return in 3 tongues.
All right.
And then you can make your way back over.
Well, thank you for your song, little bat. She's going to realize where she is, and it's going to be much more slow and careful on the way down.
Fenwyn, remind me what you got on your roll.
It was a 9.
I think you'll get a clue. There's no like real particular complication, except that at a certain point, that door to the mausoleum you were originally listening at, you can hear the grinding of stone as someone opens it more fully. and someone calls out to that withered noble. Uncle Horace, there you are. Get in here. What are you even doing out here? Our preparations are nearly complete. Come, come, come. And you hear Uncle Horace just saying, grieve, we must grieve. Yes, yes, we're going to grieve. Don't worry, we have plenty of grieving to be done. Now just get down here. And so that happens. From your high vantage point, though, you realize that you're not quite alone. There's a tall tree nearby. And just all branches, there's no leaves. And you realize now that there's a crow or a raven, perhaps. It's a crow, it's too small to be a raven, I think. Kind of perched on one of these tree branches. And it's like watching you. You realize now it's been watching you the whole time. And you can see it has something in its beak. Another clue just out of reach. What do you do?
Without thinking too much about it, Fenwyn is going to calculate the angles. It's all geometry, this. And he is going to hop from mausoleum roof to mausoleum roof and up the tree, and will snare the crow in his hand, all the while thinking of a small part of the rhyme of the mouse in the tower, which says, higher still perched the crow, clever eyes seeing every path at once.
It's a light move for you. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That the crow will pass a message on to someone else.
Make the roll with vitality, please.
That's a 12.
Very good. You get your clue, and I owe you a bonus. The bonus is I'll let you unmark that aspect that you just marked. You can have it for free. Go ahead and just give me the scene, though, as you make your way to the crow, and indeed don't scare it off.
What doesn't scare it off is that the crow, as nimble as birds are, never even feels Fenwyn scaling the tree. There's no real disturbance, and as it's twitching its head round to see what might be coming, Fenwyn already has his hands clamped around its body, wings pressed close in so it can't flutter away, and then kind of whispers something to it as if to soothe it and tell it not to struggle, and eases whatever it is out of its mouth, and then lets it disappear off into the sky as he's sitting with his legs dangling over the branch.
The crow is holding what appears to be a token or a coin of some sort, about the size of a, not very big, I don't know what it is in the UK, the size, but it's like a silver dollar here, about that size. And this token or coin is made of obsidian, and it's stamped with the image of an eye. And that's your clue. What do you do after that?
I think that there is something in Fenwyn's conscience that's going to lead him back towards the Morning Tower, knowing that he left Calyxe alone with the sister.
Calyxe, please describe how you escape Mortis.
As she wrestles with this idea of fear, shakes this fear off, and then is immediately confronted with blade and a vitriol that cannot rival her own, as the Black Cortege does what it has always done. And she is but a newly awakened babe. She submits, throws up her hands, and drops Harrow, the martyr catcher, down. Oh, Black Cortege. I understand, and I see. But let me say this. The old fire returned me for a reason. The old fire burns in my chest still. And until that reason is satisfied within my soul, within the roots of me, you'll have no part of me. So I am sorry to deny you. But I must dash. Things to do, you see. And as she is speaking, she is just gently padding backwards. And when she's just far enough away, she darts off down one of the hallways that the Grand Cemetery has and off into the mist. And for all that bravado, and for all of those words, and for all of that nonsense she spews, she is relying solely on how fast she can run now. And she is out of breath and panting, hoping the Black Cortege doesn't catch up with her.
Fantastic. And indeed, you escape. Ash, what do you do when you see this small child Melancholia?
Ash takes a few steps forward, realizing what the child is. Wayne, little one, for what do you cry so?
The child looks up and looks at you with translucent eyes and says, I cannot sleep. I cannot sleep unless my mother sings a lullaby to me. But she will not answer.
Ash will get closer and kneel down to the child, eye level. Little one, your mother is... Tell me your name.
I can't remember. It's been so long since anyone has spoken it to me.
And I think Ash will take a glance around at the tomb and then look back at the child. The song your mother sung, I don't know it. I'm sorry. I could sing you a different song.
I like this idea of you singing the song and you hearing it, Theia, as you make your way back to the switchbacks. You hearing Ash singing inside the burial niche. Ash, what are you hoping to accomplish here?
I'm hoping that just the melody of a song being sung to the child would be enough to help them move on.
This is going to be with presence. Let me take a look at your conditions. Marked by the Black Cortege. I think that might mark you as undead, unfortunately. Even though the child is undead, it still fears you, or it might fear you. It's just the light move, though. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think I'm afraid that I won't bring this child any peace and, in fact, more sorrow.
Go ahead and roll with presence at disadvantage, please.
Right. I think I will use the banner of the Nameless Legion to help me in this. And the aspect, the air grows still and the world seems to hold its breath. Just culling all noise so that It is just the sound of my voice in this moment.
Fantastic. Roll regular dice then.
9.
Theia, do you want to bump it up to a 10 if Ash cares? Because this is the person the Wolf King wants you to help put to rest. I think the singing is not good to start. I think that's basically the vulnerability, Ash, or how it's complicated is like you discover you're not much of a singer, actually.
Oh, he knows. He's aware.
And so Theia, how do you experience this, and do you help?
I think she's made her way to find this strange knight after her little side hustle climbing up a cliff. She follows the sound of this voice, that it's a little tuneless but so earnest. And I think that as Ash starts to lose confidence, seeing it's not working, and his voice sort of softens to a hum, Theia will bring in her voice over top of it and sing to the shadow that Ash is addressing. The tides, they are still here, but the wind, it still blows and carries the memories in creeks and in moles. Listen, sweet child, to the song of your mother. Close your eyes and she'll guide you home.
I love it. You can give a +1 if you mark an appropriate aspect. Maybe sings through the air in a crisp, clear note, or lulling dangerous beasts into a deep sleep. Though I'm not sure how dangerous this beast is, but I think it's still the same idea.
I think she's plucking the guitar as she sings as well, and it entrances all who listen.
Perfect.
Even those who have crossed. So I'll mark that.
That bumps the roll up to a 10. Ash, please go ahead and describe then how the child finally finds peace.
As Theia's voice joins in and then becomes the Soul One, Ash, his focus is towards the child, and he watches as their eyes lull a bit and then close as they begin to sway softly. And then he reaches out his hands, much in the way that he reached out to the members of his legion. And as the child begins to sink down as if falling asleep, he takes their hands. Go in peace, little one. Your mother is waiting for you. And he allows the child to shift and vanish into wisp.
Theia, that does help complete the Wolf King's task for you. Go ahead and mark an XP, as well as moving one step closer to Blue El Sain. Before we get too deep into things, I've been hearing some chatter on break about answering questions. Do we think we're getting close to answering a question? Or shall we press on with scenes?
Theia's very keen to get into that tower. So provided they can safely get back up these switchbacks up the cliffs, I think she'd like to give it a go.
I think we can start putting you all back together, because it sounded like lock and key. It sounded like Fenwyn was going there as well, right? I guess that Ash, are you also going back then? Yeah. Where will you head, Calyxe, once you escape Mortis?
Calyxe will head back to the Morning Tower in the only direction she knows for certain.
I think I just want to have a quick scene then with with Fenwyn. Fenwyn, you haven't met Vera yet, but you will here. She's as I described, except now she wears her white veil as almost like a sash around her waist. And she says, "Hello, Ember."
I keep hearing that word. I don't think it describes me.
You are wrong, because it does describe you. You have a small part of the old fire in you, I fear. Though you did not crawl from a tomb. In fact, I have for a number of years now seen you laying just over the way in the mud, face down. I didn't want to disturb your rest. How have you managed that? How have you managed to stay alive and not be so broken?
Discipline. Training.
Oh. I went through quite a lot of training myself in the Veiled Lodge. That is the hidden headquarters of the Black Cortege. Do you know the Black Cortege?
I'm starting to get a sense of their reputation locally.
Should you manage to make your way off this island, they will follow you in the way that they do, and they will hunt you. They will continue to hunt you. I say all of this because I want you to know that I absolutely reject their philosophy, and I have cast aside my oaths to them. I am no longer a handmaiden of death. I will no longer serve the tide of death, serve its pull. I hope very much to spend the rest of my days in the Morning Tower reflecting on what this world is. And should I make my way inside, I would like to think that I will be a help to you and yours.
Well, I'm as eager to get inside that tower as you. There's not been many places that I've not been able to infiltrate. Places protected by wards stronger than these. It's just a matter of time.
Calyxe, as you are kind of making your way across the yard towards the Morning Tower, you run into Sir Kalen. I don't think you've met Sir Kalen yet, have you?
Not yet, no.
He is sitting on a stump, and he says, "Hello, Ember. Why are you in such a hurry?"
I fear that my nature has pitted me against someone far stronger than I can ever hope to be. At this point, at least. Why do you sit?
I sit because I have no more reason to stand tall. I have let the old fire grow cold in me, you see. You, however, it blazes in you. Can you not feel it?
Perhaps I can. But it is warm, like fresh sap, satiating my rings, letting me grow old. But maybe it is an ember, as so many people tend to say. How did yours die? How did yours grow cold?
I rejected its call. The old fire burned bright in me, too, once, bright enough to blind, until I learned what it costs to carry the light. The old fire doesn't choose the worthy, you see, it chooses the willing, and I am not willing to carry it. Are you willing to carry it? Are you willing to serve something other than root and stone?
I will tend the flame, while folk like you worship the ashes.
No, no, no. You misunderstand me. I mean to say, I still have something to offer this world. I may even still have something to offer you and your fellow embers. I do know things, you see. I have traveled the world. I know of roads and paths. I know of waymarkers, of places. Perhaps when the need is great, you need someone to help you see the way. Maybe I will be able to help you. Just because I myself don't walk the roads anymore doesn't mean I can't be of assistance to those who do.
Sir Kalen.
It's the least I can do after your friends, or fellow embers, I suppose, saved me from those horrible grave grubs.
They saved you, did they? Well, they made a good choice. There is much you can offer this world, Sir Kalen. Much more than you know. And we will be grateful for such help, for I fear we have a far, far way to go.
At this point, you can all be together. And let's talk about... So it sounds like you want to answer the question of how to open the Morning Tower. Complexity 8. Who wants to build the case here? How do we do it?
Okay, so here's what I think. All over this island, we are finding remnants of something. This tower is mourning, it is grieving for what has been lost. And the way that it has done that is by collecting these pieces of art. What has been lost, alongside so many other things, is that which holds a mirror up to humanity, the art we create. Glass blowers making delicate, fragile keys, and stonemasons carving a beautiful compass rose into a gravestone, an architect sketching out doorways in chalk, a candle maker dipping perfect candles, or mariners singing a song as they travel to new places, a metal worker stamping an eye into a coin. All of these remnants of the art that has been lost when the world was lost are scattered around this tower. And when Theia arose and recovered her gittern, she realized it was stained with the blood of the carver's murdered spouse, another remnant of an artisan who was lost when the world was lost. So Theia believes that to open the doors of the Morning Tower, we must offer it what we, as the remnants of humanity, create.
That's a fantastic theory. Does anybody have any objections or additions?
Which clues did we use there?
So I used the key of blackened glass, the skeleton with the mirror reflecting instead of a face, the grave with the compass rose, the chalk door, the candles that show the way, the mariner's song, speak return in 3 tongues, and the obsidian coin. And then I ticked my aspect of my gittern as well as an extra one.
That would make it a flat roll. Who would like to roll it? If there's no objections.
I guess it kind of has to be me, doesn't it? I pitched the whole thing.
You did indeed. Let's read the move before you do so, though. Okay, so it says, answer a question. When the embers have an open... Well, I don't know how open and freewheeling the discussion was, but
Sorry.
When the embers have an open, freewheeling discussion about the answer to a question, once they have gathered a number of clues equal to at least half the complexity, and reach a consensus, roll plus the number of clues incorporated into the answer, or otherwise explained away, minus the complexity. And so you've worked in 8 minus the complexity, so that's a flat roll. On a 10 plus, it's correct. Well, there's more results. So go ahead and roll.
Oh my gosh. I've been rolling well, and I just feel like this is going to be the one. Come on. 4, 5, 6, 7.
So you're correct, and opportunity can be pursued. I will add an unwelcome complication to the answer, and or pursuing the opportunity will be more dangerous. And in this case, the complication makes the eventual struggle you have to do a little harder. So that's the set complication for a 7 on this. I won't say how, just that it will. And so that is that. I will note here, answer a question can never be taken with advantage or disadvantage. You can increase the success tier by 1 if one ember, one of you, marks a cinder. And then the ember who marks the cinder has to reinterpret the answer through the lens of the marked cinder. So that is an option. I don't know if that's worth spending on this because you're in, but just know that that is a possibility as well.
So it doesn't have to be the person who rolled it. It could be anyone.
No, that person just rolls for the whole group. That doesn't really matter who rolls it. But whoever marks the cinder. I suppose this actually might be something in the rules. It's not totally solidified yet. I do kind of like the idea of the person who rolls has to be the one that marks the cinder, but I don't think I'm going to stick to that. So if anyone, as written, anyone can mark it. So
I'm kind of thinking about it.
Yeah?
I'm kind of thinking about it. I mean, I've literally got a cinder called the Tower's Lesson, even the unscalable falls to the small and certain. And I feel like the interpretation of that answer would be that Theia does all of that hard work, explaining this, weaving this like tapestry of all this artistry that's been left behind. And whilst that conclusion is being come to, like, perhaps it's Fenwyn who takes the credit for it because he manages to, like, lockpick his way in, or it happens at the same time, and he thinks he's done it. So the unscalable tower has fallen to the small and certain, certain that my skill as a lock and key has just done it. But really,
Theia literally explains it to us and then has this big grand sort of reveal planned, and as she turns the doors open.
I kind of love that. I was almost doing that answer through the lens of one of Theia's cinders. So for Fenwyn to like come and whip it away, I love that so much.
But does yours make more sense? Do you want to do yours?
Mine is literally art changes the world around you, the lyrical reality. Like, I was already kind of working with that interpretation, so I kind of love the idea that Fenwyn has this different way of approaching the problem.
So what is the cinder? Read the cinder to us again, Fenwyn.
The Tower's Lesson, even the unscalable falls to the small and certain. So this idea that there is some weird, eldritch curse on this place that can't be opened, and I've basically, the small and the certainty of a lockpick.
You just unlocked it. Yeah,
just unlocked it.
Yeah,
me as a lock and key has done it.
I kind of like that because it really does, like, it fits nicely with sort of what we know about the lock and key so far, which is like in a world like suffused with magic and magical possibility, they are very they're very mundane in a certain sense. I mean, obviously not their mastery of their physiologies, but they're like non-magical, like they're very like just do the job, and so that's kind of intriguing to me.
And picking locks, getting into small spaces, that is part of your artistry.
Indeed.
It is your interpretation. It is your interpretation of the explanation.
Anyone else want to throw a cinder in there as well?
Dueling cinders.
What I would say, though, I do want to make clear is that it is Theia's answer is correct. I think I'm correct.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly.
I think we can both think we were the one who did it, and I think
absolutely. All right, fantastic. So that will make it a 10. Okay, so it'll be a slightly easier thing. Let's read the opportunity then, which can now be pursued, and it might be one of those automatic sorts of opportunities. It says, gain access to the first level of the Morning Tower and immediately engage in a struggle against the pallbearer.
If I'd have known there was a struggle, I probably wouldn't have said anything.
Let's see here. The pallbearer. Essentially, after we see Theia weaving this beautiful vision, laying out the various things and talking about the Gittern and all that stuff, and all the while, Fenwyn just kind of messing with the mechanics of this door. And no matter the truth of it, we hear this chung chung and this kind of wrenching of like stone and wood as this long sealed door heaves open. And that begins the first movement. You stand before the morning tower. Rain runs down in its black stone and rivulets. The doors groan open. The air inside is still, heavy with the weight of centuries. Candles burn in alcoves, their flames sputtering but never dying. At the far end of the hall, a figure waits beside a coffin draped in gray cloth. Let's paint the scene. The Morning Tower was built to honor a dying world, but time has turned that reverence into fear. What details tell you this place has become less a sanctuary and more a tomb for the living?
The air is stagnant and still, and there is a quiet to this place even through the mourning that the nuns are meant to do. It is almost as if it is suffused and smothered in a way. The sound does not reach to the others. It is your punishment, your penitence alone that you hear surrounding you.
It looked so warm. The light coming through the windows of this tower, it looked so inviting. But there is none of that warmth here. That was the invitation to enter this place, and now we are here. It wishes to freeze us so that we do not leave.
As the doors thunder open, and our eyes set upon a series of alcoves and arches winding all the way up the inside of this spiring tower, faces look down to us. They are not full. They are not lively. Their skin is like paper, mummified, pulled over their skulls, and they watch us with hollow eyes. Their hair is stringy, their figures bent, their ribs on show, gaunt and hungry but lifeless. And they watch, and they watch, and they watch.
Before we see those faces, if we were to see those people, or what used to be people, these husks, gaining a sense of awareness that there are people about to enter or the doors that are open, we can see that they don't have a sense of routine in the sense that they have a bed they go to that they sleep in. They just mourn, and then they fall to the ground, and they sleep until they wake, and then they pull themselves up off the stone, and the sorry dance continues forever.
The pallbearer rises, towering, draped in ceremonial wrappings, his face hidden behind a mask carved from petrified bone. The air cools around him. Every flame in the tower gutters and flares blue. With both hands, he lifts the coffin's lid, revealing nothing within. The sound it makes is like a sigh dragged from the bottom of the sea. You are intruders in a holy silence. The pallbearer means to return you to it. To all of you, describe how you try to survive the opening assault, the deathly moan, the collapsing light, the sudden pull of gravity that drags you toward the empty coffin, and then roll the dark move. We'll start with Fenwyn, since you were kind of first in. pallbearer is literally trying to pull you into the coffin. What do you do? How do you survive it?
I think it's that gravitational pull almost lifts Fenwyn off his feet. But as we've seen, he's agile. He has this kind of cat-like grace, this almost supernatural agility. And I think he clambers up or gets a grip of the door that he's just opened and swings up and sort of presses himself to the tower back first, and kind of stands on the lintel and tries to kind of like get out of this gravitational suck that's pulling him in, and kind of press himself up against the stone and perhaps be in a position to drop down and do something useful.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid the door is going to give way, and I'm going to end up in that coffin with it pressing down on top of me.
It's worse than that. The pallbearer will close the coffin with you in it forever. Go ahead and roll with vitality, please.
8.
Calyxe, how do you resist the pull? And perhaps the deathly moan.
It is the moan that shatters the holy silence. And it is at that point that Calyxe realizes that grief is a price, and it is a tax of being loved. And when grief turns to silence, it is no longer grief, it is obsession. And you must remember that not being alive leads to this absence in someone else's waking life, their waking hell, and as she is trying to wrap her head around this abundance of grief, she must remind herself that she is alive, and she strikes her palm across the iron sickle, across the martyr catcher, and bleeds into the stone, and lets the blood run down, and remembers how warm she is, how alive she is in this moment. And while that deathly moan comes at her, she plants her feet, and she screams back in life.
How warm you are is complicated by the fact that you are chilled to the bone.
Yes.
You will be rolling at disadvantage. It's going to be with composure. Do tell me, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am quite afraid that my scream will transform into a moan, and I will be pulled into the box.
And it's worse than that in the way I've already described. Go ahead and roll with disadvantage composure.
2 5s and a 6. So 12.
Wow, very good. Very good. I'll give you a clue at the end of this that you'll be able to find as well. But be thinking of how you resist. Ash, how do you resist the pull?
Ash draws name taker, but does not hold it aloft, keeps it down at his side as the ghostly visages of the fallen knights flank him on either side. He kneels, digging his heel and hands into the floor and the mortar, standing still.
I love it. This is going to be with vitality. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I am afraid that my heels will drag, my legs will falter, and my hands will fail, and I will tumble towards the pallbearer.
And it's worse in the way I've described. Go ahead and roll with vitality.
Seven.
Very good. Finally, Theia, how do you resist the pull of the coffin?
Theia feels that pull towards her, into that coffin, and she knows she cannot go. She knows the songs of how the world could be when the Wolf King rises again. She drops to all fours, and from the depths of her chest, she lets out a howl to match the intensity of the scream of Calyxe. Wolves don't howl to mourn. They howl to communicate. They howl to say, I am here.
I love it. I think that's probably... I'm going to give it to you with presence, actually.
Okay.
I'm not going to invoke unnerved or shaky hands. I think you get to do this for free.
Okay.
What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Her hands are shaking. She's afraid her voice will shake too and will cut out.
Oh, I love the idea. It's worse than that. Your voice is what ends up in the coffin. Go ahead and roll with presence, please.
Can you remind me? I've invoked one of my aspects, but
Oh, you get to take advantage then.
Okay. 2 5s, and I think my presence is 2. Yes, so that is 12.
Nice, very good. I like the way you've already described it, Fenwyn. You've well described how you survived the situation. I will just say that I think the complication here is you will see, as you're kind of pressed up against the wall and you have a moment to kind of like look at, kind of assess the situation, you will see someone you don't recognize, but Calyxe would recognize as Mortis of the Black Cortege, slipping inside the Morning Tower behind you all. Let's go to Calyxe. Please give me the scene of how you resist.
The scream can only carry for so long. She needs something. And as she sees the wolf join her by her side, and that howl mixes with her own in this strange melody, she realizes she must keep it going. And she reaches for the nails and just begins to dig them into the sets in between her fingers, that webbing, that delicate webbing that bleeds ever so when she indulges in her testament to splinters. And she lets the screams carry, and she lets the pain flow, and she lets the root and rot feed her from beneath the stone. And that voice carries, and it mingles with the howl, and she looks to the wolf. She looks to the wolf and looks back to the pallbearer, and feels stronger than ever since she woke.
Ash, you have braced yourself. The other spectral knights are like kind of bracing with you. You do manage to resist the pull, but I think it just physically strains you. So just take a condition strained, but you're otherwise good. And Theia, go ahead and describe how you resist.
Theia feels what Calyxe feels, their voices working in unison. The troubadours, a troupe. It's not just one voice performing alone, and when you perform in a choir, there is trust there. You can stop to breathe knowing that there are other voices continuing the notes so that for it together, it seems endless. And that is how the wolf joins forces with the tree to keep the wall of sound pushing back against the pallbearer.
The second movement. The pallbearer moves like a shadow cast by a slow-turning flame, looming, his wrappings trailing behind him like smoke. The coffin hovers now, circling you, its lids snapping open and shut. He raises his hands, and from every alcove shapes begin to rise, thin, whispering silhouettes carrying invisible burdens. They march in slow circles around you, their footsteps hollow and in perfect rhythm with your heartbeat. Let's paint the scene. The Morning Tower was once the heart of the Sisters' Order. What remnants of devotion or ritual still cling to these walls, even as death walks among them?
There are etchings of verse, prayer, and litany. Some are just written and some are scratched, deep gouges into the brick. Patient, over and over, tracing these same lines, these same letters.
I think that between whatever's left of any seating in this part of the Morning Tower, there are lines of hassocks. They're kneeling cushions for prayer. And they are all perfectly worn by the same pairs of knees that just seem continuous use.
Within the alcoves are endless altars. The guttered candles would light them. And on them in the center are these beautiful brass reliquaries in sunbursts on stands, each holding some sort of holy object, some remnant of a person gone. And while most of the brass is tarnished and dirty, each just has a small strand or a patch that has been worn by endless tending, touching, reverence. But the rest is near black with dirt.
Those candles, when they sputtered out, as candles do, released that waft of smoke that fills this space, but it carries with it an unusual scent, an acrid scent, the scent of burning hair. The hair these nuns have cut from their own heads in the throes of despair and ritualistic mourning.
To all of you, you cannot strike him while the coffin moves in the air. Its pull drags every weapon away. Describe how you help still the coffin or otherwise resist its pull.
I think Fenwyn has dropped down from the position on the lintel above the door to see this scene kind of growing more and more out of control. But he doesn't have time to react until the coffin is right on him and snapping. And he unfurls his cloak. And it seems to just keep going and going and going. There's so much material there that hides so much. But it's a sturdy cloak with a matte coating that drinks light. And he thinks that the only way to seal this back up is with darkness. And he hops between debris as it falls and things as they're being flung around this place with this telekinetic force, and sort of wushu style kind of spins with this trailing fabric behind him, gets one hand on the lid and starts to swing himself around this coffin in midair to bind it shut.
Ash, pick it up from there. What happens? What do you do in the scene?
As Fenwyn takes to the air and begins to bind the coffin, he looks to Ceres the Bright and Tyre the Relentless. To him. And the three of them move as one. He runs up along a wall towards the side, gaining ground to leap forward into the air. Name Taker still in his arms, he flips it down and intends to strike downwards too once Fenwyn has it shut. Brace it closed permanently.
Theia, give me your part of the scene.
Theia, in her howling, has reached an ecstatic sense of animalistic power. I can do anything. And she sees her fellow embers leaping upon this coffin, and she leaps too from her position on all fours and lands on top and just holds and holds with her whole body.
And Calyxe.
As the wolf moves and as the howl continues and matches the scream, Calyxe reaches into her robe and pulls out Blackthorn for dispelling magic, one of the iron spikes. Because grief is a price. This is not grief. This is obsession turned to magic, turned to the darkness, and it does not belong here. and she follows the wolf, the graceful footsteps, and leaps up onto the coffin with the other embers and strikes it down into the lid, hammering it in so that it may never open again.
The third movement. The coffin slams to the ground, dust blossoms outward, and the echoes of 100 whispered prayers collapse into silence. The pallbearer wrenches the coffin free from you all and hoists it and swings it like a weapon in wide, wild arcs. All of you, please describe how you avoid the pallbearer's blows and deliver glancing blows in return.
Theia, she moves backwards. She remembers words, the other weapons she can wield. And she calls out to the pallbearer. You fool, you prisoner. Look at you, swinging and waving and moaning and crying. Aren't you foolish? Aren't you pathetic? Do you fight us because you are ashamed of what we have seen? Do you wish to remain in darkness? We can take you back there. And in this empty space, her words echo around, creating confusion. Where is it coming from, this taunt?
Fenwyn, keep it going.
Fenwyn has managed to lock into that silence that he needs to find his stillness, to slow things down, to see what's going to happen before it happens. And the pallbearer is big, the coffin is large, it's easy enough to avoid, but from a spectator's viewpoint, you will see a man doing impossible contortions of his body to bend backwards and arch his back. So it's maybe even like 6 inches from the ground, but his feet are still flat on the floor as the coffin swings and passes inches by his chin as the pallbearer lumbers around for another swing. Fenwyn sees Theia bewitch this thing and senses an opportunity, darts across the floor, slides on his knees and lodges a knee into the kind of fleshy part of, or what passes for fleshy part of the pallbearer's ankle, and hears a sickening crunch as it slumps down to one side. Fenwyn rolls out of the way to safety.
Calyxe, describe your glancing blows, please.
She pulls the martyr catcher from her belt, the iron sickle with the long chain. And as she rolls it in her hands, her eyes catch Mortis. She's awake now. She's so awake and alive with the song of the wolf in the tree. It's time to show him exactly what she can do, why he should not, and the Black Cottage should leave her be. She swings it, mimicking Fenwyn's movements, to the other ankle, lets it wrap the great iron sickle around that ankle. Here's the shuddering slice of a tendon, or what's left, and drags it down to its other knee, yanks the chain hard, pulls it to the ground, and whips the chain back, and tries to find Mortis's gaze, so that he knows. So that he knows.
And yet the thing is not brought down yet for good. This is to you, Ash. Please describe how you fully bring the pallbearer down to his knees, exposing him.
As the others take the pallbearer's attention, Ash moves with the other two, the specters that follow. And the pallbearer attempts to strike at him, but he strikes at one of the specters. They move in tandem. They move as one, as three as one. And they speak as three as one. You will fall this day. You will fall this day. You shall fall this day. It echoes through the room as Name Taker finds a sorceress the bright, so wise and knowledgeable knows the name, pallbearer, and Ash whispers it as Nametaker begins to sing, pallbearer, pallbearer. It craves the name, and he will deliver it to Nametaker. And so, clean, but not so clean, he thrusts the blade through what would be the specter's neck and then up. And then he withdraws it and then drives it down through and through and through whatever this thing claimed was once a heart, but is now ruin and wreckage.
The fourth movement. The pallbearer, dying, wrenches open the coffin and begins to lower himself into it. Let's paint the scene. As the pallbearer's body falters, you glimpse a vision of what he once was during the time of the old fire when his duty was sacred. Why was he chosen to be the guardian of the Morning Tower?
He was small, but he comforted with small gestures, a simple smile, the right offer of the right simple thing at the right moment. He sensed how to ease the pain that is mourning, but never sought to dismiss it or hide it away, only to make it more possible for people to move through it.
He understood the regiment of duty, of need, of repetition, of thankless repetition, and did not begrudge any who did not act in the way that he needed to for those who came.
He cared. They were long drawn of breath. They didn't move anymore. They were cold, but he cared about them. Even if nobody came to the graveside, he was there. He stood guardian over them. It didn't matter that their flame had died. He was there because he cared. Pauper, king, lord, Lola. It meant nothing. For he cared at the end, for all.
Not only did he understand grief and mourning and sorrow in such an intimate way, he was also a great comfort to the dying. Anyone who died here probably did so with the pallbearer's hand in theirs.
To Fenwyn, describe how you deliver the final blow or the act of mercy that ends his vigil, and roll the light move.
As the pallbearer looks up at us from his coffin, perhaps expecting a killing blow to end this ceaseless torment that has been the guardian of the Morning Tower. But I think Fenwyn sees that moment of the pallbearer being the one to comfort the dying, and quickly gathers some things from the detritus of this struggle. Trinkets, a sash, maybe a book of prayer, places them in his hands, folds them over his chest, and pulls shut the coffin lid.
What do you afraid is going to happen right now?
I'm afraid that Calyxe is going to show me how to do this properly.
Intriguing. Go ahead and roll with presence.
8.
You succeed. I will tell you how you're vulnerable. I think, Calyxe, I don't think you're going to do anything to change the scene here, but I do think you render a silent judgment. You render a silent judgment about Fenwyn right now. Whatever that silent judgment is, tell us, and Fenwyn will take it as a condition.
Weak.
Harsh. We had 2 12s in the middle of all that. I'm going to actually give you 2 clues that can be used for the Pale Crossing question. The first is that as you all sort of like catch your breath, you'll kind of notice that near the door, just inside the Morning Tower, there are a bunch of smooth river stones piled up near the door, as if they were placed there when someone came in. And each of these river stones is marked with a symbol representing the old fire. Your second clue, as the pallbearer's hand slides into the coffin forever, he drops at your feet, Fenwyn, a mask, a procession mask made of wax, still warm and pliable to the touch. You have successfully defeated the pallbearer. Congratulations. You have gained access to the Morning Tower, which is your great reward here, which we will learn more about when we resume next time. Let's go ahead and do the end of session procedure. End of session questions. Starting with Ash, you have not resolved the mystery yet. I don't think you rolled with Cinder either. Did you name another enemy, ally or shade, and in doing so alter their fate?
No, that's what I was trying to do with the child.
Oh, interesting. But you did with the pallbearer, didn't you?
If that's called changing their fate, I'll take it.
I think it fits. Yeah. Did you glimpse the person you once were, or the name you might yet take? We did it in Flashback for sure. So
Yeah.
Fantastic. You picked up 2 XP. Let's go to Theia. You got your 1 XP for completing the Wolf King thing. And did you destroy someone with just your words?
I used
pallbearer, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fair to say it was just that destroyed him.
You were taunting. You were taunting him. Yeah, you were taunting him.
All right.
Did you perform publicly or intimately in a way that shifted the balance of power? Yes, definitely. Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible. Did you demonstrate reverence for root, stone, or soil over law, crown, or creed?
In no short, subtle term, I did tell Fenwyn to go fuck his creed, crown, preference.
Indeed you did. Did you spill blood in a way that caused the land to respond?
I did cut myself on the martyr catcher in an attempt to draw up sort of root and rot under the earth of the stone when we were fighting the pallbearer. That was what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know if it quite read.
In stone.
I think you were kind of I can see that. I don't think that's why I got there. Fenwyn, did you slip past an enemy when fighting them was an option? Yes, you did. Did you demonstrate your amazing physical talents to someone else's wonder and astonishment? Sure.
At the very least, the crow was impressed.
Yeah, there you go. Fantastic. Okay, so that wraps up that part of it. And I'll remind you all, if you stoked the fire and you need to narrate something next time, be ready to do that at the top of the next session. And with that, we'll go to Stars and Wishes.
Struggles are so fucking good, man. They're so much fun. Like, I bored you all with the fact that, everyone knows this about me. Who cares? But like, I don't have a relationship with more traditional fantasy-based games, and the ones I've played have bored me to tears with the combat, and I dreaded when they were happening. And with this, it's like, I want to keep doing this because, we love doing the unseens in the between. We love doing the tapes in public access so much we speed around the campaign. But these are the big moments that, like, I'm constantly amazed at how much everyone gets to bring to them and how collaborative they are. I didn't expect a lot of those things to come through in the struggles, and they really, really do, in a way that they don't in Unseens and they don't in the Odyssey tapes. There is a little bit of like leading on, but there's much more interplay in these, and I'm really impressed with how they work. I'll jump in first and say Michelle singing, beautiful. That was a real kind of show-stopping moment. It was absolutely the most amazing thing you could do with the narrative reins in your hand, and I loved it so much. Jess, I am so on edge every time you meet any side character. And there was a bit where when I went to get the clue out of the crow's mouth, Jason said, there's a tree, and I just saw Jess perk up like a meerkat. Which is like, okay. And I was like, don't tell her where it is. And Wren, like the one moment that I absolutely loved, and I think it's maybe enhanced the fact that yesterday when the knights kind of whiffed on when you summoned them, I thought the moment where you when Fenwyn did the coffin binding and you came in and slammed it shut with the sword, I thought that was so cool, and the way you described it was so amazing. And also your old fire at the start was beautiful. I loved it so much. Great session, having a great time. Thank you everybody, it was great.
I've got to give a star. Jess, I'm scared of you. Brackets good. That's my star for you. I really think that's all I can say. Just the whole thing. I'm terrified. Every time when you met Sir Kaelin, I was like, no, my boy! I'm so scared of everything that this Crux Druid is going to do, and I love it so much. Even before you say anything, you're just like, here it comes, and I love it so much. You're really embodying the messed up nature of this character in a way that I adore. Wren, I loved just like the way you described like bringing down the pallbearer with the two specters at your side and speaking as one, and like contrast that with like the tenderness and the sweetness of when you were interacting with the child specter. Like it was just like so beautiful to see those two sides of this mysterious person. You've just brought them so much complexity and richness, and it was really exciting. I want to learn more about Ash. Like he's so fascinating and has so many sides and facets to him. It's really cool. Matt, I just love that Fenwyn's just like a little guy. He's got this kind of just little guy energy. It almost like you underestimate him, right? He doesn't seem as magical as the rest of us. He doesn't seem as powerful. He's just hiding away, and then he just does something like really cool. Like he's just like parkouring about and like wrapping a coffin in cloth and slamming it, and like that just came out of nowhere after we haven't really seen him do anything for a while. And I really like the way that he's kind of unassuming until the moment when it counts. I'm really enjoying seeing that. And Jason, just loving it, man. I really enjoy the struggles as well. What I like is that you don't have to always roll. I think I was expecting there's 4 movements. Oh god, we're gonna have to roll 4 times. But no, like sometimes it is just a moment of like, let's share the narrative between us and make this a really cool story, the battle that will go down in legend. And that's so thematic and so enjoyable. As someone who, as you all have seen me counting aloud every time I roll dice, I don't like to add up all the numbers. I'm not good at number. I'd rather just tell a story with words, and I love it so much.
Star for Jess for just absolutely legging it away from Mortis. Just absolutely running away. No, I really enjoyed watching your interaction with what was the nun's name?
Sister Isha.
That was one of my favorite scenes too.
Yeah, that was the two of you in that scene, and just like the philosophical discussion and just being an absolute creep the entire time. I think this is your feedback for the day. You scary, very scary. But I love that. I love just how much of like through body language as well, you just inhabit this terrifying lady, made of twigs and fear. I just enjoy every time she comes up to speak. For Michelle, I commented it during the break, but I'll say it again for the record. And how you pull a song like that out your ass. Honestly, it was incredible to like be in that scene with you, because it was both Ash and me reacting in the moment, and it was just so beautiful to just witness and be a part of. And thank you for not stabbing me. And for Matt, for Matt, it's so interesting watching how like calculating and like of quick thought Fenwyn is, because again, I think this is another one. You didn't talk that much, so you were off on your own doing your own little thing. The only thing that came up was a guy trying to assault you and take your shoes because they remind him of his mother, and that you spared us that weird scene. I don't know whether to thank you or not for that. I feel like it would have been great television for the internet. But I do like how like these little like bits of Fenwyn's character and thought process are revealed throughout bits of the story. And for Jason, I'm really enjoying the world that's been created. I enjoy like the structure of like the entire story that we're telling. Like we always end up towards the, because I was wondering, comparing it to things like public access and the between, how the structure of it will work, because it's hard for me to see like the bigger picture, but it feels very different and everything is still very familiar at the same time. So I'm very grateful for that. Like it's not just completely out of left field and we've lost the plot. The plot is still here. The plot is terrifying. I don't know what the plot is. But yes, no, the stars all around and having a wonderful time.
I'll start in chronological order, I think, because at the beginning when Ash began with their fire, I was looking at Wren's screen and I was like, fucking hell, they've scripted this. This is brilliant. And then I saw your eyes darting around and I was like, they're pulling this out of their ass? You are kidding me. With the unproven, wrapping in the story of the name on the ribbon, all of the details from the previous session that we had, all suddenly gave you House Tolanis as this. It's like a ball and chain instead of like duty and loyalty. It was so rich. It was so amazing. And I was absolutely convinced you'd written it down. And I was just absolutely blown away when I was like realizing, no, the unproven, everything that's coming out of their mouth right now, 100% improvised. Fucking hell.
Not to take it away, but I did write some of it down.
Okay, you wrote some of it, but I was like tracking your eyes to see if it was like an actual script. Like it was too good to have just come off of the top of your noggin. It was fantastic. So good, so much detail. I really lived for that. It was a perfect way to kick off the episode. Fucking well done. And then straight down to Michelle's song. We've said it before, we'll say it again. That was absolutely gorgeous. It's such the Howling Troubadour is so perfect. I sometimes think some of these characters like have just been made for us because they fit like gloves. I'm really loving how we're all adapting to them, but that delivery, the lyrics, all of it together. Yeah, it was another beat in the story that I was just like, yeah, I could pick up a book and read this right now. This is how this is all coming about. This is fantastic. And then Matt, Fenwyn's ability to fight is his strength. The way he moves through space without moving through space is just immense. All of your descriptions of how you wrapped the coffin shut, how you went for the ankle, how you're assessing everything. Everything's geometry. It's this calculation that Fenwyn has instead of speaking. eat to the point where he didn't take the zombie. He was like, I'm not going there. This is a bad choice because Crown and Creed, that's above all. You embodied this character so well, and I know him already, and I hate him a little bit, but that's fine. No, it's beautiful set of movements from everyone in a story that I cannot wait to build more of. I do feel like, don't get me wrong, and I have preached the heavens that the Between is my favorite thing of all time. We may need to revisit that statement, depending on how. I think we may need to revisit that statement.
I've been because of all my games I've written, the Between is actually the Between and Public Access are like kind of neck and neck. Brindlewood Bay was an accident. I love Brindlewood Bay, but it was a total accident. The Between and Public Access are the ones that I are my favorites that I've written. But I'm like, is it the lands remaining actually? That's what I'm kind of like.
Well, they do say that you have like the youngest child is usually the favorite, and I just think that maybe.
This might be it. I don't know. Stars, I had such a wonderful time. This was such an incredible session. Kicking off like with just setting the tone perfectly with the Old Fire narration, Wren was so good. One of the changes I've made to the game versus the other games is that you always do the branch narrations at the beginning of the next session, and we can kind of see why that is now, because like it really sets a tone and it kind of feels like that cold open of a movie. Like it's just really lovely, and you did a great job. Stars for I love Calyxe so much. Like that character is like the serial killer in the horror movie the side characters don't realize they're in, right? like they don't know they're in the horror movie, and the Calyxe is like the menace, and I kind of love it. It's so great. I'm always like very like every time I just think like which of them is going on the tree, like that's like the main, that's like what I want to know, like who is it going to be, so that's really great. I agree with like how you're playing the lock and key, Matt. Like I love the way you describe everything in terms of geometry. And actually what my associated wish is, I can't wait until we start seeing the like training and the crystal door. Like what is that all about? Like we get to see Fenwyn in this as this like kind of like quite capable like character, but it's like who does like incredible feats, but it's like, how did they become that way? Like I'm really excited to see that part of the story, so that's just I just love it. I just think it's so great. And Matt, you and I are really similar in a lot of ways, and one of the ways that we're like very similar is we always play like the rogue types whenever we play a fantasy game. I always pick the rogue, and I just, you're playing it the way I think I would play it, and I just think it's so cool. And I have to say, this is for Wren and Michelle both, but like I think that scene from like finding the family to talking to the ghost boy to Ash like kind of stumbling with a song to try to like ease the tension, and then of course with Michelle coming in with the actual song, I think that was such an amazing scene from beginning to end. I think it's like a top 10 all-timer for me of like role-playing game scenes. Like it was just so good. And it was particularly valent for me because I'm in the middle of Return of the King right now. I've been reading the Lord of the Rings books, and something I really love that Tolkien does is he just like peppers like songs in the middle of it, right? There's just like always a song for something. And so I kind of like that we got like a literal song here. I thought that was just such a cool moment. But even like setting that aside, it was just a really beautiful scene. Like I knew what I was setting up when I set it up that way, when I gave you the Wolf King mission in the beginning, but I love how it played out. Like I was like, oh gosh, what a payoff. It was so great. I'm just delighted. I'm having such a good time, and I am so happy with this game. And so can't wait to very excited to see you all leave the island and get to the lands remaining proper. So yeah.
Jess did float before we started playing of just all moving into the Morning Tower and it becoming a sitcom. And we're in now.
There's like
we're just a bunch of little guys just like hanging out.
A grouchy, upstairs nun neighbor who comes down, and
whenever Fen walks in, there's a round of applause.
Yeah.
You guys been out committing heresy again? Or shame on you, shame on you.
Mortis is like that jerk guy who everybody hates, who like,
someone hooks up with later in the series.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's another wish too. In my mind, you all lost track of Mortis, and Mortis is just now in the Morning Tower, and so I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Oh wait, he's just in there now?
No.
Oh fuck!
You lost track of him, and he's just in there. So,
Tell you what's interesting as well. I'm the only one who knows.
Well, no, because Jess narrated.
Alex saw.
Calyxe saw.
Calyxe, yeah, Calyxe was like showing off for Mortis, basically, right? So, yeah. So maybe. I don't know, or I guess we could maybe explain it away like Calyxe just generally wanted,
Yeah, maybe she was looking for him, but maybe she didn't see him. Maybe she was
I'm not a coward. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch this, nerd. I got this.
Was that directed at Mortis or Fenwyn?
Stuff can be two things.